to quit. And so I just want to get your mindset right as we kind of lean into this for that, because once... All right, guys, let's get into the day 2 of creating AI workflow automations for ourselves. Today is a big decision. Today, we get to choose which operating system to partner with, which is going to keep us students and masters in training of that ecosystem. So often when you get into coding or something, or creating, whether it be Photoshop or film editing, would be Premiere versus the other options out there. Once you get into the world of creating, it's all about partnering with the solutions that are going to keep you not only engaged in the now and also to your style, but going to keep you prosperous into the future. Like, you don't want to just build things that are nice and cute. You want to build things that are going to be able to be deployed in the real world scenarios that you could actually use to solve real world problems, be it creating efficiency in your own life, be it automating your workflow so that you don't have to be stuck with the manual process or copying and pasting back and forth from ChatGPT, or whether you can actually create AI employees to be there for you as an accountant, as your recruiter, as your lead generator or appointment setter, or an overseer of the process, like a virtual manager or something to that effect. And that's all very possible these days, and it's already happening. I've spoken quite a lot about the rapid adoption of AI workflows into companies that can afford it, and for those who can't, this is kind of for you. So let's get into the big decision. Boom. Alrighty. So basically, there are 2 considerations right now. There's this company called Sim.AI, which is relatively new. They were started like this year and have recently launched. And there's some pros to it for sure, and then it's the tried and tested, more complicated version of it, and that is the n8n. All right, there's make.com and there's zapier.com. There's not only these, of course, but we want to be very intelligent as to who we partner with up now before going forward, as you don't want to get 3 months into the process and realize that the option that you've chosen doesn't have all of the requirements that you need to kind of operate on a better level. Now, the converse of that is, how serious do we want to get with this? Are we happy to do little one and done operations that are going to kind of plug into our day to day, that we can just have support us and not to get too serious about it and get the job done? Or are we going to put in the sweat equity, learn the professional options, and then take the learning curve up front, and then become more efficient at the more serious option, which is probably going to put us into a better position 3 months down the way? And that's the decision I'm sitting with right now. So n8n's been around since 2015. It's got like a pretty strong community. It's got strong documentation. It's got use cases. You can download templates for free. There's a lot of YouTube content on this, and to be quite frank, I didn't really know about AI workflow automation until the YouTube's feed started pushing videos from n8n my way. I knew there was workflow automation by like Zapier and stuff, but it was very expensive, very clunky, and it came at a high learning cost. And I thought I'll just do the stuff myself. That was a bad mistake. I wish I had automation back whilst I was growing my business. I'd be in a lot more at a scaled position now. But also everything for a reason. If I was still what I was doing what I was doing 3 years ago, then I think my fulfillment would be low. So the fact that I am where I am is it's good. But now that I know about this, damn, am I going to employ it onto the scape and the scope rather of what I need whilst I build forward. So the more professional, more mature, better supported, but more difficult one to learn, because it's a lot of like kind of coding stuff, is this n8n option. All right, so there are definitely pros to go with this direction. However, the drawback is I want to help your non-coders, I don't want to say average person because that doesn't mean anything, but the guys who would like to benefit from the modern era, who require this, they see the under looming threat if they don't, but they don't really know too much about coding and so on and so forth. And that's where this option, for that reason, kind of steps in. Where it's I wouldn't say straightforward. There's still some form of understanding, but it just feels friendlier. And I think once we start getting our rhythm, could be quite nice. Now, the setback that we've got here are a few of them. All right, so Sim.AI, the community is a lot less, even though that they've got kind of templates. They're very new, so they're not too well thought out, and they're not even like too well even named over here. My content creator and all this kind of stuff, I don't know, it's very new, and that's exciting in some way. But if we're looking to get examples, if we're looking to see how to bridge one step to the next efficiently, I don't think we're going to get a lot of that just yet. Maybe in a year's time, there'll be stronger use cases and for us to kind of climb into. So I just want to see, for example, what this one looks like, because I'm interested in MCP. It's a model, MC, what's the C? Model Context Protocol. All right, so, okay, so it's pretty straightforward. They've got it here, run, prompt. It's in another language. And whatever. Okay, so guys are contributing to the community, so we'll see how it all works out. But my point being is that today's the day that we need to decide, because once we're like in it, then we don't necessarily want to change down the line. So with the community being quite young, and it puts a lot of pressure on the documentation. So they do have some documentation that can help us along, but it's not necessarily too comprehensive. Just like, I feel like there could be more. Maybe there's a lot here. We'll have to see. Okay. What I've gone and done is I've got this set up on my, it's called self-hosting the software. So I downloaded it. I've got all the raw code on my computer. So I've actually got over here a lot of what the code has said. So we can actually use the code alongside the documentation, with the like with the Grok or a real like powerful AI component, and hopefully maybe we get ahead there. Until now, the experience has been a bit weak because I did try it out and I thought it would be quite a nice thing to do. But I'm still kind of uncertain of it, because the reason why it was such a draw card is because the YouTubers said it was free, but it's not free. If you self-host it and you use local language models on your own computer, then you're a very niche person, because to have a GPU or to have a LLM run on your personal setup costs thousands of dollars, because you need the hardware for it. So it's a more sensible thing to kind of use API costs and usage costs, pay for what you use. However, I'm not a big fan of like monthly subscriptions, because they add up quite a lot. So I try to keep a very small handful of the stuff I cannot live without, and I try to avoid all of the add-ons of monthly stuff, and I prefer to create that solution myself than go and pay someone else for it. And that's why, just by the way, it's taking me 2 months to get my code refactored on my own trading AI project, because I just didn't want to get hit with those high monthly subscriptions. And I thankfully won, and it's all good, and I've got a setup that is robust. Costs are low, running costs are low, which is great for everyone else, and that's how I intend to build as well. So with that in mind, that's kind of my personal approach. Other guys don't mind paying, everyone's got to eat. They have to send out $450 a month for all the various subscriptions and stuff, but they're getting a result from it, whatever the case would be. That's fine with them, but I've just always been someone who likes to kind of build from scratch, so that the additional costs per month aren't high. Now that's clearly going to be one of my deciding factors as to which way to go here. And I want to be very transparent with my thought process, because a lot of guys don't necessarily see this kind of thing on YouTube. So it is just simply a part of the process, like which coding language to choose, which thing, and you got to really look at the pros and cons of things, and this is that. So I want to offer you I want to offer you hands-on experience, and this is again what that process is for me. So what let me down with Sim.AI is that YouTube told us it was free, and for the most part, if it is for free, then you're going to be running into a ton of unnecessary errors, because you've got to correctly configure it locally, and also understand what happens when something goes wrong to fix it, which will mostly be the guys who created it who will be able to do that. So unless you're willing to go through the raw code yourself, learn learn how they've pulled this thing together, then bug fixing and overcoming challenges becomes a little bit unrealistic or undesirable. So then the other option, so free isn't really that desirable. So then it becomes a paid service. In other words, what I'm saying is that the selling point for Sim.AI is that they've got a co-pilot. Okay, so the co-pilot is sent here to like build the operation on behalf of the user. And the reason why I wanted to partner with Sim.AI was because that was a big draw card. Now, there's no such thing as a free lunch. You'll see at the bottom over here, I'm on the $20 plan, because I wanted to see if the co-pilot usage would get capped. And to my big disappointment, it's not. I had a meeting with the head engineer and the owner, and unfortunately what happens is that your pro level account on this setup is to pay for the amount of iterations that can transpire in a single run. How do I break that down? The process over here, for example, we've got step 1, step 2, and step 3. Now there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You can pay $20 a month to have up to 25 of these steps. So if we put in a AI agent, if we want to put in a email thingy, and if that goes to a docs operation, and then that's going to get kind of sorted out by the agent, and then maybe we want that to go and be saved onto the drive somewhere, as well as kind of recorded Google Docs and then uploaded to like our manager or something to that effect. Okay, that's just very loosely speaking. All right, so it takes 425. You get 25 of these in a single run. Okay, they might be fine for relatively straightforward tasks, but I just don't know yet how long the string is going to be for extended tasks. I don't know how many nuanced steps we need in between so that the operation gets done securely, it gets done in a stable manner, and it gets done to a point where more often than not, let's call it like 9 times out of 10, because technology isn't 100% all the time. 9 times out of 10, when you hit that run button, the process is going to run through smoothly. So these are the considerations you got to think of up front. And then if you want 75 of those, so that's a more complex workflow that goes up to now $75 a month, if I'm not mistaken, something to that effect. Let's have a look. Oh, $40 a month for 75 runs per minute. So for 20, you got 25 runs. And then for team, you get a dedicated Slack channel and the higher usage rate. But what I found very another word for unclear or disingenuous or deceptive, I think. What I found quite deceptive is that normally when you pay $20 a month to ChatGPT, you can use it to your heart's content, and you don't really get like rate limits. Like for me, I'm a heavy user, so I'm pouring tons of code into it. Then I'll get into trouble because I'm using a lot of their servers and all the rest of it. Whereas, but for $20 a month, for the most part, you can get a lot done. All right, so you don't really need to go more than that, and it doesn't penalize you too strongly on per usage or iteration. Now, what I don't see here with the pricing is how they charge for the, and this is a massive put off for me, how they charge for the Copilot usage. Now, remember, Copilot usage is the USP. It's a unique selling point. It's what makes them differentiate themselves against everyone else. It's their standout point, more or less. So I asked the engineer, like, why is it so bad? Who are you using? And they're actually using ChatGPT 5, which for me is quite a big fail, because ChatGPT 5, in my experience, gets it wrong more than it gets it right, just for my requirements. And in the professional world of coding, there's a lot smarter out there that you can actually partner with and get the job done. ChatGPT, it's like flipping a coin if the job's going to get done, to quite frank. That's just my experience. I've been with them for a long time, so I've got a lot of experience. But the drawback over here is that you don't get to choose which model you want to co-pilot the operation with. So if they had their documentation, which is kind of what I wanted to recreate if we did decide to go this direction, their code and whatever the case to be. So these are like the tools. Let's go to the blocks. So over here, this will be the Google Gmail one. All right, so here's the actual code for the Gmail option. which could help us potentially debug what is it we need to do. So we pair the code of that with tools. We go to Gmail. So we can take the Gmail docs over here and then and the code together and create like a little expert that focuses on how to manipulate the flow back and forth of the Gmail unit. Now, I don't necessarily know if that's even going to work, because now that we understand how to operate with a Gmail block, then who's to say we know what it requires from another block? All right, so now we're going to go to the other block, do the same thing, copy the code. I'm not saying it's impossible. Here's a solution. I'm still at the deciding point. And then get the documentation of the other block, AI agent, whatever it is, put the two together, put it into an AI and say, all right, cool, this is a problem I'm having. Can you help me with the correct input and output of what is required in this circumstance? So we can get around that. But just getting back to the big disappointment for me is that the starting point was this Copilot thing. And the big put off for me was that once you use the credits, once this bar goes up to full, then you've got to buy more credits, more API usage, which super sucks, which is so shit, because you can't plan how many units you're going to use in a month, because you just don't know how much work needs to get done in that month. So maybe once everything is built and whatever the case would be, you don't have to worry about it as much. But whilst we're building solutions, what was meant to be a free solution now could end up costing over $200. Who knows? I've done some iterations with it, and chatting to the head engineer today, Tuesday, this day, they said there's going to be a major update and rollout with the Copilot, which is going to get a lot better. So we're going to be testing that now. However, I've spent, I'd say, over 30% of my available credits on it not doing its job already. So that's my other concern, is that if I'm paying for the utility of this thing and it's not working and I'm still paying for it, then who's going to govern? Like, why should I be paying for someone else's inability to get the job done? It's fine with ChatGPT. You got your cap at $20 a month. It's not perfect. Try it again, change the wording, change the prompt. Eventually you're going to get what you want, whatever. But here it's just, it's not capped. So you can't plan. But what really gets me is that it's not communicated anywhere that is the case. So you got to find out, after spending that money and kind of getting invested, kind of like duped into it, that you're not going to get that money back, and that you're going to have to keep on paying. So although it is quite simple, drag and drop, and it looks pretty friendly and whatever the case may be, I mean, we haven't got deep into the usability of it yet. I just don't know if this is going to be the solution. And the reason why that's significant is because it looks pretty. You know, it looks kind of simple to understand. And this kind of thing is not going to really chase away those who are not completely techie themselves, but still kind of have the idea of like building blocks and how to put things together. Okay, so quite a big decision. So according to the head engineer, they did have a major update rolling out today. I don't know if it's already done. It should be done because, yeah, we've given America enough time to do that. Let's delete all of these. All right, another thing I don't like here that n8n has got is that we can't run, unless I'm not seeing it because I can't find it, duplicate, vertical, delete. You can't run individual steps. And that's a big no-no for me, because every single time you want to test one thing, you've got to run the whole process. which sucks for, I mean, I don't even feel like, whatever. I'm kind of talking myself out of using this. Again, the big draw card for this is just for guys who are not very comfortable with something a bit more advanced like this, but maybe that's just a part of the learning journey. Maybe I'm here to help just really make things super simple in a complicated environment, which once we got right, like once we get the essence right, I'm sure, on something more complicated like this, then we can start thinking in the way that they've kind of designed it, and then with the limitations that's there, work around it, and then push forward. And with something like an n8n, these guys have been around for a decade. There's tons of documentation. There's tons of good guys going up there advising others how they overcame their struggles with it. So we could be more supported, even though it doesn't look, I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but it's not, once you start working with it, you'll see the way it pops up is quite daunting. But I think, yeah, maybe we just get over the way that it appears, like, whoa, overwhelming. And then once we start finding our groove, we just open ourselves up to like basically able to do anything. Now with n8n, I'm confident we can like not only able to do anything, like connect to like my own trading stuff, which will help me build out, like scale this into different markets and all that kind of stuff across the world, and different trading information and just like real considerations, everything I need. Because it's 10 years old, this is also, they've got security protocols, they've got stable servers, they've got high-speed connections, like they've got all the stuff that you need to kind of back you in the real world. Whereas something that's a bit more up and coming, I don't know about the security on this. I don't know if it's hackable. It's open source, so the guys are going to be able to learn about, you know, the bugs and the defaults and the backdoors, and where do you hold it? How much is it going to cost a month? Like, it's very unclear. There's so much uncertainty over here. Anyway, so this week I think I'm going to give it its fair shot because there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of gray area. If it does impress, then the benefit, like I said, is that it looks pretty chilled. So we can both use it with ease. Without further ado, let me go to a pipeline. So just to give you a bit of history, I've been chatting to a Sean, but I don't want to say clients, whatever, like my guy Sean, who's hired me to do his AI automation. He's in the professional realm of selling, and he sells like really intense machinery. Like, this is the kind of stuff that he moves. So very detailed, very technical, a strong understanding of the mechanization process and so on. So it's actually quite beautiful that we are putting in the AI into mechanization. I mean, this is what kind of this is what got a lot of jobs kind of replaced in a way, and now AI is replacing more jobs. It's a double whammy, which is hilarious. Anyway, so basically we mapped out what it is that he's after. He tells me about his daily process, the redundancy, what sorry, I'm just getting blasted with a message here and being live. Gotta take care of family matters. Yeah. So we mapped out his process. I've got into the strategic planning element of it. Mapped that out as well. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the strategic plan, copy it, and I want to see if we can have this self-proclaimed masterful agent or agentic workflow builder that can put it all together for us. So doing, because they promise it'll be as simple as this. So let's, again, this is the reason why I want to show you guys real world stuff, because there's so many promises that are made on YouTube, and I want to show you what it's like in the trenches, doing it yourself, overcoming challenges, and there are many. I get quite frustrated having a look at how many setbacks there are after on YouTube. There was a flashy trailer and a flashy little intro video and a flashy review, and this paid influencer got an affiliate link, so everyone's positive on it. And I'm like, guys, as a user, this thing freaking sucks. So anyway, let's see if this is going to happen to us today. So I sent the strategy through, and then I'm going to pump it out. Let's see what it says. Okay, so every time I interact with this Copilot, bearing in mind that my usage is going to increase over here. So that's why I think, just to get my money's worth, I'm going to stick with this week until my usage gets utilized there. I've actually got 2 accounts. I've got a pro account with Sim.AI for my personal stuff, which I want to use as well this week. And again, if it's disappointing after the head engineer suggested that today is going to be the big shift and update for the AI to operate, then I'm going to dump this. And guys, we've got to go with n8n, the more advanced one. But again, the steeper learning curve up front is going to set us up long term for sure, because there are tons of people out there who are making it a success. This could be an emerging threat to it or not. Again, hands-on experience. Let's see what transpires. Okay, so it says here, quickly pulling up the current workflow. Nothing there just yet. Okay, it's just saying that there's nothing there still. Okay, it's just saying that's going to build it. Okay, plan. Build a workflow that runs via chat. Okay, so chat's up there. Parse means to utilize, to understand. Okay, and here it starts to build. An email request to structured machine request, JSON. So this is the kind of stuff that we're going to have to learn on the fly. I know about it because I've had to learn out of requirement. But for example, a structured machine request, JSON. The JSON part, like, what is that? Like, we got to learn what that is, how it's used, and how to get that structured correctly. Okay, it says here, draft a quote, transparent cost breakdown, suggested markup ranges, general follow-up tasks and reminders, return a clean structured response ready for review, built with start, pass agents, quota and task agents, response, verify the workflow, test run with sample machine request, summarize output. I don't think it's actually understood what it is I'm trying to achieve here, but let's continue because we're testing, right? Built your MVP inside Sim. I took your chronological plan and set it up with a working chat-driven prototype so you can test the core flow without OAuth or external integration just yet. What I built was start the chat, pass machine request, draft quote, and task output. Use your OpenAI variable, return structured JSON payload. You can copy into email immediately. Okay. See, I don't really think that's required because my client has got a system that it handles the quoting and the inventory already. So when it sends it to their clients, it goes via the system. So to recreate that, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be of high value, but let's continue. And again, I'm quite surprised that I didn't pick up that from our notes and from our strategy. So again, this is what the ChatGPT is like. It's quite stupid most of the time. All right, so pass machine request, extract client machine fields from any pasted email or note. Okay, strict schemas, leave fields blank, missing. Okay, no fabrication, which is hilarious because ChatGPT is fabricating itself. Draft quotes and tasks. Again, it's going on, it's too heavily trying to achieve quoting. Produces quote breakdown, placeholders for purchase cost, sea freight, tracking, rigging. Sea freight, tracking, and rigging are on ad hoc, so it doesn't necessarily, and that's also its own like workflow, because to get a sea freight cost, that kind of information is typically not kept on file. For containers maybe, but not for these crazy sized machines. It's all designed on the dimensions and the weights of the machines themselves. So to have that pre-built into the quote's not going to work. Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to also want to circle back to, is that having real world experience whilst building AI workflow automations is really important, because some of the youngsters or guys who haven't gone to college and such, I'm not saying that that's typically quite bad, but the guys who are trying to build workflows to provide, you know, their own cash flow may not have the real world experience. And sure, they can maybe get some guidance from their clients, but there's also a level of common sense that needs to go into this up front, because you don't want to be like building something, get to clients, be like, hey, this is great, and then they say, no, it's not, this is not what I need, this doesn't even make sense to me, because then that starts to sour the relationship. Okay, so now it's doing suggested markup, so we're leaning again onto the quoting a bit too hard, sourcing notes, client email draft. Okay, you got to be careful about client emails. If it's, see, this again, this is a ChatGPT way. It's just so mechanized. And what I find the beauty of when it comes to our automation is that my intent is to put AI agents in. Oh, there's only a 3-step process. What a waste of time. Idiots. Yeah, again, this is why I'm so grateful that I've decided to go live and to show you what it's like actually dealing with these hyped up. I mean, let me just show you what I'm talking about. If I've got a YouTube on this. Okay, so I'm gonna go n8n killer, or not killers. That's a whole different conversation. All right, so again, like the social media pump this stuff. All right, so 82,000 views, and again, these guys say it's free. So the new Sim.AI destroys n8n. All right, and when you click ahead, n8n is dead! Exclamation mark. Like, this is the shit that we got to deal with, guys. Honestly. So, yeah. That right there. Even this one up here, 17,000 views, are saying things like it's free, but clearly we've got a cost bar raising at the bottom over there. And even the free tier will, within a few builds of utilizing the Copilot, which I was quite disappointed myself, the $10 that you get for free cleans it out real quick. And then also over here, it destroys n8n. We've just seen Yeah, this guy, even this other guy above it, still using n8n. This tool just killed manual workflow building. Maybe, but manual workflow building gets the job done. This full-on vibe is not getting the gist of what needs to get built. It's also it just totally misunderstood what was required. And again, now I'm paying for its misunderstanding. I'm paying for it not knowing the process, even though I gave it a massively comprehensive strategy over here. Okay, let me give it an automation plan and see if it picks up. Again, this is a big week to decide which direction we're going to go, so we're putting it to the test. And this is how I test all my things, by the way. I've done database management, I've done servers, I've done all the things. And you can't just go in with the hype. You gotta stress test it, because again, down the line, you're going to have to backtrack otherwise. So some people are like, what is it? What is Apple's version of Adobe Photoshop Premiere? It's not Logic, that's for sound. Bro, Google can jump off a boat as well. It doesn't even know either. Man, I'll remember it, but how does Google not know? Idiot. Anyway, okay, now it's getting the phases that I've put in here. So what is it going to do with it? Okay, so just to read it out loud. Phase 1, the foundation and getting it all built, okay? Phase 2 is email intake, very important. Template replies and follow-up. So this is premeditated. And so I've fed it this. It didn't come up with it itself. Its version of what it's trying to achieve was wrong. Quoting with human approval and inventory links, absolutely. Very important to realize where AI can help the business and where it cannot. You don't want AI to be blasting the same email to the same email address 8 times in like 10 minutes when you're trying to land a client. It's just going to aggravate them and put them off immediately before even speaking to you. So it's very important that there's the right kind of human intervention. Because for phase 4, sourcing aggregation. All right, cool. So that's just getting the stuff off of the website. Inventory management and metrics. Yeah, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that if we need to do it. So I'm just still putting it to the test. So what stays manual by design? Maintain client relationships, obviously. You keep personal comms. Speaking in slang now. And final pricing calls, automation stops at draft, and task reminder. So yes, finally, now it's starting to understand more about what I need. Ready to implement. So I can extend your current workflow with the router for okay, that's a little bit advanced. The router for the inventory versus sourcing branch. Okay, Google Sheets logging, so leads, quotes, and tasks. Gmail read draft with approval. Sourcing collector starter version with Firecrawl. Firecrawl does web scraping, so I don't think we need that right now. If you want me to proceed, I can do those things. So I want to go with Google. I guess this is another point I want to communicate. Was getting AI to be the creative mind to the process. So I think I just saw something over here where it says still using n8n. This tool just killed manual workflow building. So the manual workflow building used to really aggravate me, especially the manual workflow, the manual part. I hate manual work. I hate it. But I realized it's not manual work that I actually hate, it's the repetitiveness of the necessary manual work. So manual workflow building, all right, the operative word here being building, is actually something we want, come to think of it. Because what we've seen so far is we've seen from the building aspect, the assumption of this particularly stupid AI, ChatGPT 5, is creating its own world of what it thinks we need, even though I've given it very specifics of what it is we need. It's like having an irritating salesperson try to push their product down your throat, and you're saying, I don't need that, I need this. And they're like, yeah, but ours is better, blah, 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 blah. And you like, maybe out of obligation, buy the product, and then you regret it, and you're like, that was stupid of me. Hopefully I can get a refund, and I got to leave my life altogether forever. So that's the experience I get with ChatGPT 5. It's like, it doesn't really know what it's doing. Let's just see if it even works, okay, what it's already built. Because often, the caution I'm trying to convey here is that there is this automation, this high speed part that is supporting us now that other guys are leaning too heavily into. As I made mention to earlier, like maybe a youngster who's trying to build workflows to sell off or something to that effect, who doesn't really understand the business model too well. And they're using like a ChatGPT to say, all right, what do I do? And then we go and do that. And then what's the next step? And we go and do that. But who's to say that it's on the right path? And over here, even though I've given it very specific and clear details, it's off the path. So we can actually lose time here relying on the kind of co-pilot to build for us, which in itself blows up the whole selling point of something like a Sim.AI, because if it was just drag and drop concept and have it build itself out, then cool, why not? But it's the creative stage, it's the building part, it's that part of the process which I'm now kind of also reaffirming in real time. You don't want to offset to somewhere else. You actually want to be very close to the building process. You want to get very close to the manual laying down of your specific requirements. You want to get granular with it. You want to get micro step with it. Because not only is it a super important part of the building process and decision-making process, but it's also going to backlash against those who rely on something like this, do something like this, and then don't really know how to fix a problem when something goes wrong. When you internalize a problem, when you write it down, when you there's like this biochemical reaction to stuff when you write things down. When your body is involved, when your body becomes a computer, then the problem internalizes. And like sometimes you go for a shower, you go for a walk, or just in the middle of the night, the idea hits you. You're like, oh man, I should have gone that direction. Oh, this sounds like a better option. That part of the creation is vital to establishing a solid pipeline, a solid production. So as I'm hearing myself speak out loud, I do think that I'm going to can Sim.AI because it's actually taking away a vital part of the creation process. And that's the building, the manual requirements. And I'm actually grateful I've gone through this experiment because one can get quite lazy and get things just put together for you. Hey, hooray, that's great. But you don't want that. You want the granular micro steps that you're going to feel the pains of. Out of interest, I'm just going to press play here. So, okay, I'll read it. Okay, so, and also another thing I'm finding is that when everything's done for you, because there's just so much work, every day I do so much reading, the this, the that, the this, the that, so much reading that eventually I just don't want to read anymore. I just want to get like down to like the specific task. Okay, so it configured Google OAuth, Drive folder and 3 sheets. Why does it need 3 sheets? Okay, well, let's see if that works out. I don't think it will. Gmail ready, draft reply. But if it pulls this all off, maybe then I'll eat my own shoe. But I don't see it doing that. Okay, how the flow runs is start the trigger, existing chats, driven parsing, quote draft, JSON output kept intact. Gmail reader, pass from Gmail, draft quotes, tasks from Gmail. I mean, if this all worked, it'll be so fun and so cool. So we can just literally go into a company, get the problem, map it out, build it out, give it back to them the next day. But ChatGPT gets so overconfident on its work, and when you go down to it, it's all busted up and broken and all fragmented and weird. And the other thing about it is when you build it out and trying to backtrack where the errors are and how it should be done, it's very poor at solving problems. So almost like this Bolt website we had built yesterday, you want it to kind of spit out the best version it can, because thereafter you got to refactor everything, and that's where the complications come in. Because when working on a project, you got to have the whole thing in mind. You can't necessarily just have one thing and make like a mega change or like a significant change, and then not impact all the other elements of the process. It's very, very detailed when it comes to when it used to be coming to building websites. Let me just quickly show you what I mean. So there's different files. So there's your components in the source file, but then there's also the different elements. For example, you got your indexes, you got a whole bunch of stuff that's going to go over your head. The app itself has got its own construct. That's fine. The pages in which it's all kind of put together, the CSS assets, the imagery, the style, the feel, the responsiveness, the shadows behind the buttons, that kind of stuff. It's like if you change one thing, you got to keep everything else in mind. And like if you change one thing, where else does the other changes need to happen without it causing a problem? And let me tell you, with coding, when you put a full stop or a capital letter or a semicolon out of place, it like bombs the whole operation. It's so frustrating. So that's what it looks like on the inside. To kind of get something like this. So my point being is that once if it gets, it's like a great first attempt out, you got something to work with and it's cool. If it's got a poor first attempt out and you go try refactor from there, then it's an absolute downward spiral. So let's see if I press play over here, what we should expect. Okay, so within the first few seconds, we're getting no value found. Okay, so it's error. Okay, there's first error. There's next error. Has it stopped already? Okay, so we got nowhere. All right, so I want to just, because they advertise it as the next big thing, I'm just going to copy all of this. And see what the Copilot has to say about it. Yeah, and as I'm doing that, I'm starting to kind of see why it's such a dangerous way to build. And that's again how guys have, I mean, it's literally right there, how guys have framed this. It just killed manual workflow building. All right. New Sim.AI destroys n8n. Okay, apparently this Google Opal kills Zapier and n8n. The Sim.AI, the game-changing alternative to n8n you've been waiting for. And so forth. And my voice is getting a bit hoarse now, so I'm going to jump off. But it's going to give, like, it's going to try and solve this. And this is where, like, the loops of misunderstanding and not knowing what's going on kind of unravel. So, quite frankly, I think we've debunked the ease of use for something like a Sim.AI. I don't think, personally, I would go forward relying on the AI to create for me. I think it's super important to be the one who is very active in the creation and building process of at least the structure, the step-by-step, the manual stuff together. And over relying onto a tool like this is going to just create frustration and a bunch of back and forth, wasted money, a lot of errors. I've wasted money. Spent 2 times $20 on something like this, thinking it's going to be quite a, it's going to get capped at $20. I was bitterly disappointed, and then just watching my frustration and aggravation build as I try to get simple things done, wasting money on the build itself because it's not getting it done. I'm still being charged for it. And I'll have to actually go back, try and understand its thinking, try and understand its logic, try and understand how it's put it all together here. Tells me that there may not be even some worthwhile exploration down Sim.AI, because going over to n8n, where everything is kind of overly involved, step by step, very kind of like manual understanding, I now see the value of why the manual configuration of the workflow is so important, because it's got AI capabilities, everything built in. It's, I mean, that's all there, but it's the granular putting together of the plan of the steps that's going to build something that's significant and it's going to be something that's in the real world we can apply. So yeah, if anyone watched this and saw the process and agree with it, that's great. If not, then this really helped me personally if I was talking to myself, because YouTube has got so much content on, it's quite hard to get viewers and whatever the case be. So my point being is that if I am speaking to myself, I've derived great value from this, because it's really helped debunk what it is to be a builder and a creator in this modern age of AI options and so on and so forth. So highly recommended to actually continue putting in. I mean, it's so great to see all of this stuff done for you, and it's so great to see a website done for you, but that's, I suppose, where the magic dissipates. the offsetting of the creativity process, it just bombs so much. So it's almost like an MP3 or the CDs came out after the vinyl. Like the vinyl, you could put your fingers on it, hold it, it had quality, it sounded crystal clear, it was just the whole thing. And then MP3s came out, and it's like all of a sudden this throwaway culture became more and more rampant, and now we've got like Spotify, who's just been like pushing a bunch of crap music out. So things, I think, are so valuably, no, things that are most valuable are the ones that took the time up front for the creator to gradually, or like to very nuanced, my brain's shutting down, spend time on the build so that the production was quality. Unlike this junk, which I've wasted money on, I'm not going to come back to this. Unfortunately, that is I'm just going to create unnecessarily long, frustrating realms of problem resolves, but without it even being in the right direction. Okay, that's it for this one. We'll catch up with you in the next one. I think tomorrow we'll get into the very basics of understanding n8n and understanding how to get ourselves out of zero and on our way to hero, or out of nothing and on our way to something. Okay, valuable lesson today. I'm stoked.